Hello, everybody. My name is Lisa Lamont, and I'm hostess of Ladies Get Your Prance On. And each week I bring a special guest in the house that is going to share tips and tools and thought ideas that will enlighten your world. And today I have a very, very special guest in the house. Her name is Jeni Dahn, and she is a shamanic practitioner. So welcome, Jeni.
Thank you, Lisa, for having me. What an honor to be here.
Well, for people that don't know, you live in Washington State, so we're both from Washington State, and we both met at Jessica Butt's event called The Front Seat Life. And so I met you actually over a year ago, and I kept saying, I got to get you on the show, but you were crazy busy. So the first thing I would love you to do is just first of all share. Explain to people who may not know what it is that you do. Can you kind of share with us a little bit about your title and what that means?
Yeah. Often when I share that I do shamanic work or I use the label shamanic practitioner, often I see a lot of eyes roll. I got to be honest, because we have lost touch with that to some degree. And all that means is that I do my best. I am surely not perfect, but I do my best to live in alignment with nature and with the elements. And I use them as a way of tracking my life and seeing what's going on. Another way of thinking about it for many is I share with some of the teachings that I have. When you think of your indigenous cultures and the medicine man in the group, right? So I've learned some of those ways of how to work with an individual's light body or energetic field. So even in modern terms, they'll call it energy medicine. Mm-hmm. And what they're saying is a shamanic practitioner, somebody who is working with the natural elements of your body.
Well, that's a simple way of doing it. So who typically would be the ideal client that you see? Do you see mostly women entrepreneurs? Do you see people with health issues, or maybe a combination?
Typically, my client base is women. I would probably say 95% women. I have a few extraordinary men. And definitely the entrepreneurial women, because my hours are typically day. I only have a couple of evening hours. So they have some freedom or flexibility in their schedule. Also, I would say it's somebody who possibly has tried traditional ways and they're not getting somewhere. And they're tired, or they're also recognizing, or they've kind of come into the self-help category, and they're starting to see that they're the common denominator in their life. You know, they're the ones showing up at work, they're the ones in the relationship with their partner and family, and they're noticing the same problem showing up in each category. And so they're starting to have some awareness of that. And then we can start tracking the patterns in the body and start releasing that.
At what age did you know that you were called on this path that you're currently on? I mean, we don't just wake up and say, "Oh, this is what I am." Even though me as an intuitive person, I could see spirits and stuff when I was little. People ask that. When did you know that you had this gift?
So I'm going to be very, very real. Like, I didn't know. Other people saw it in me before I did. At a young age, at 22, this is on my website, my husband passed away. I got married at a young age and my husband passed away. And that was kind of my awakening, or that was my awakening. And, when you're at the funeral and you're at the church and I can feel him next to me, something didn't make sense in my life. Like this, I wasn't taught this. And so at that time, they always say, when the student's ready, the teachers will appear. And teachers started showing up in my life. And I remember, I think it was 2001, I took a trip to Egypt. And it was a spiritual-based trip. So we were doing meditation and healings, and we were being guided by somebody into these temples. And I remember standing outside of the temple, and one of the ladies in our group was like, "Oh, my back is really hurting me." And the facilitator in the group said, "Jeni, put your hands on her back." And I literally looked at her and said, "And do what?" "And do what?" And she goes, you know what to do. You just don't know you know what to do yet. And I was like, all right, I'll entertain you. And I put my hands on this woman's back for 10 minutes and her pain was gone. And she's like, thank you so much. I said, I didn't do anything. And she goes, yes, you did. And so it was a learning for me, but people saw it in me before I saw it and started pushing me. I don't believe I chose this profession at all. I believe this profession chose me because, like you said, you don't wake up and say, I'm going to be this.
Yeah.
I just kept getting nudged in this path. And then before I knew it, I had a full-time practice.
Yeah, we talked before we started the show. We were talking a little bit, and I was just saying, I said, "Are there any topics off topic? No, do I stay away from anything?" And I said, "Has anyone ever told you that you are a very old soul in this young body?" And I asked you that. Can you answer what? Can you tell the viewers what your answer was?
I said I've had many people tell me that, and I'm starting to recognize it.
Yeah.
I think there's a leaning in and a trusting that it wasn't this natural thing. And what I say by that is it wasn't this egoic thing of claiming something.
Yeah.
It really did feel like the world, the universe, source, spirit, God, whatever you label that, just gently nudged me. And people like you saying, you're this. And, and that's the reflection that they're seeing.
Yes.
And it's very humbling. And I often just say, I'm just doing me the best way that I know how.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's about.
Okay, so I have to tell you, the song Jenny from the Block comes into my mind when you go, I'm just me. And that song just popped. I don't know where that came from. Maybe one of your spirit guides is being humorous. I'm just Jenny from the Block. And you got to have a sense of humor this time of year. One of the things that I wanted to have you on the show that was so powerful that you did, and you did a live fire ceremony, and that just so inspired me. Like I had to go and do it myself. And I've since done 4 of these fire ceremonies, and they're so powerful. And so can you share how you came up with this fire ceremony and what it's for and what does it mean?
Definitely not something I came up with. It is taught in most indigenous cultures. All 3 or 4 of the teachers I've had, they all have a variation of the fire ceremony and bringing something to the fire. And it's a beautiful, like if you bring something to a ceremony, and when I say ceremony, for me in this modern day, what that means is you're really holding something with intention. You're bringing your full self to it, and you're holding something with intention. And that's what ceremony was to the indigenous. And I think that's important, that we come into it with full intention. And a ceremony is a way of you showing up to yourself, you being present with what is, and then releasing it and inviting the element of fire to assist you, right? Because as we walk in the shamanic realm, that's what they're doing. They're working with the elements. And so we're calling on earth and we're calling on fire. And so a fire ceremony is a beautiful release ceremony because there's intention of finding, if you do the full ceremony, there's intention of finding your stick. There's the intention of, if you say you start this in the morning, of being with that stick and putting in it what you want to release. And many of the 2 of the teachers that I would work with, they would use their breath and they would blow it in. So you're blowing your intention into the stick. And so you're being very present with that. And then when it's time to come to the ceremony, you're asking for the fire to release this for you and to transmute this, right? Because that's what fire does. It changes form. Right? So we're putting it into the fire, and we're asking the element of fire to assist us and to change the form. And there's steps to doing that, and I have that in that link, and I can even give a few of them here. But you're going to gather that stick. What is it that you're releasing? And then you're bringing it to the fire. And you can do a full-blown ceremony like I did on TV, like you did on the Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Or it can be as simple as working with a candle in your house, right? All of us don't have the means of going outside. And I just gave this to a client the other day. I said, I want you to write down all the things that you have been shamed about. All the things, all the messaging that you can hear around shaming that came forward from your parents. And each one I want you to put on a piece of paper. And then you're going to sit down with intention and you're going to burn each one and let it go. So you can write them on paper. I've had people write out leaves on construction paper because, you can bring it to the stick and weave it and decorate it or write on the stick and then put it into the fire and let it go.
That is beautiful. That is so beautiful of releasing the shame and the blame. As long as we keep blaming others and we're the victim, we're empowering that person who has hurt us or let us down. Can you talk about that a little bit of why do you think that people don't realize that they're still holding on to shame or being the victim? What do they get out of it by holding on to that?
I think, when you get into that piece, I think we're now talking about forgiveness in
Yes.
degrees. And forgiveness is one of those things, and both of us have a friend that is a beautiful coach around this. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things that people say to forgive, but it's like, how do you forgive? And what is that? And I love to remind people that forgiveness is not condoning. It is not giving permission. It is not saying it's okay what somebody else did. That's not what it's doing. There's a quote that sticks with me, and it always reminds me because I think it sums it up real quick. Unforgiveness is choosing to stay in a trapped jail cell of anger, resentment, and bitterness for someone else's crime. And I don't know who said that, that's unknown, but when I sit with that, I get that. It's like, wow, I'm holding on to this anger, this resentment, and this bitterness, and this is in my field. Yeah. It's now informing my cells, yep. my body, and creating these seeds of some sort in me. Yet they're out fine. It's not impacting them. And so forgiveness is letting that go. Not saying it's okay, but not holding on to the anger, not holding on to the resentment. And basically, Lisa, the way I see this is it's an emotion. So you have to allow it to flow. You have to allow it to release. And what we tend to do with anger, resentment, bitterness, disappointment, hurt, sadness, is we tend to hold it and resist it and shove it back down versus allowing ourselves to release it and let it go.
Yes. Or we eat, or we drink, or we medicate, all those things that keeping it pushed down and not releasing it.
All the ways that we push it down.
Yeah. Well, and with the holiday season, around us, and there's always a holiday season. I don't want to just talk about Christmas. There's Valentine's. I mean, there's always something. There's always a holiday season that's going on. What are your thoughts of this women's movement that's going on? I mean, regardless of who people voted for the president, I don't want to get political because it has nothing to do with that. But this is about women awakening. Do you have any thoughts or any feelings about that? And once again, I didn't pre-ask you these questions, so I'm just
perfect. So this is consciousness. This is consciousness rising, is how I see it. This is women no longer holding their voice. Now, it's not just about women. You know that, and I know that. But it's about women at the moment standing up and being heard, and it's about women standing up, being heard, and being acknowledged.
Yes.
For this behavior, this crime, whatever you want to call it, at some level we participated by being quiet. Mm-hmm. We are now saying no more. And this is awakening not only the feminine, but it's also awakening the masculine.
Yes.
Like, oh, and this, to me, this is consciousness rising. And so we know it's coming more into our awareness, and we're not going to be quiet anymore. We're not going to not step into our fullness, because that shushin that we've participated in,
Yes.
that's not claiming our power, right? So now this allowing our voice to come out and be heard, it's messy, and it's just about listening right now and acknowledging it. I don't blame the men. I think, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I think we're cracking it.
Yes.
We're waking up.
I think on the other side of this temporary anger is going to be joy. And I love that you acknowledge that we're not after men. We don't hate men. We're not bashing men. There's the behaviors of certain men, not all men. You know, I'm in a relationship with a guy that I just love, who holds the door open, is totally a gentleman. It isn't about hating men. It's about supporting women and sharing women's voices, because they need a platform. They need to talk. That's why I started my show, you know, the Prancing Kitten Show, because I wanted to highlight women entrepreneurs to be heard and seen. I started 5 years ago on a podcast. I had this group, and it's just like everyone was just spamming, you know, their little ad, and I'm just like going, this isn't working. You know, I'm meeting some really wonderful women, and I want to give them a platform, and that was why I started the show. Was to highlight women like yourself. And you've been a tickler to get a hold. I mean, you are so dang busy. Who would think that, you know, that you know, people don't understand that the field that we are in, the quote unquote, the woo-woo, the energy field. And I used to hate the word woo-woo. I was telling you that before. And it's just like, there's no reason to hate it. You know, it's a light, it's a colorful, it's energy, because we are all created from energy. That's why we're all here. And I'm so excited. What would you like to share with the women entrepreneurs? There's a lot of women entrepreneurs that are getting excited to, you know, they're already focusing on the new year and goals and stuff. What message can you share for the women entrepreneurs that are thinking about going and getting a day job? People that are ready to hang up their spurs, so to speak. Do you have a message for them? And do you work with women like that who are ready to give up?
Oh, yes, definitely. I think the most important thing is really listening to the heart. That's all it comes down to, because I don't know if they're meant to do that or not do that, and I don't know if the career they've been trying to pursue is where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Often, I think we can get entangled in the stories of the mind, of the ego, and we can want something so much, and we can be attached to something so much, yet we're struggling.
Yes.
Well, to me, if there's that amount of struggle, you are going the wrong direction, because the universe is
I want to stop. Hallelujah. We shouldn't wake up being depressed. We shouldn't wake up struggling. We should wake up excited and looking forward to serving others. So thank you.
Yeah. So if they're trying to launch something, or if they're in something, but they are struggling and they are working and it is challenging, I say time out. Where is the energy naturally flowing? Where is it easeful for you? Where do you just go and it's not work? Because I would love for you to change your focus in that direction and then see what unfolds.
Yes.
Because that's the piece. I think we get so attached to what we think things should look like, or what we think things should be, or what it means to be successful.
Yeah.
That have you stopped listening to the own intelligence of your heart? Because your heart is going to guide you, and it's going to guide you in a profession that is going to be fulfilling, and you're going to have a contentment and a fullness, and you're going to enjoy it. It's not going to feel like work.
Yeah. No. You know, the perfect person who gives an example, because we both know her and we both love her, is Jessica Betts. I mean, for years she was a therapist, you know, and a great therapist.
She's a great therapist.
She's a great therapist, but it wasn't making her heart sing. You know, it wasn't where she's supposed to be doing. And I mean, look at where she is today. And the thing that's beautiful about her, and I know that she works with you, is that she's always open to trying something new. Like she doesn't just like, I'm not going to pigeonhole into just this. She's always opening to expanding. And you know, a lot of people that follow the show, they also know her. So I want to use her because I know she works with you. And I just wanted to highlight, she's a perfect example of somebody who was in this, you know, this career that people retire from. And for some people, that's a great career and they're satisfied doing that. But there was something inside of her that was saying, this is great, but there's something more. And you're able to help work with women to find that, you know, is there something more, or am I doing the right thing, but maybe I'm blocking it. Maybe something from my past is blocking my happiness, and I don't deserve happiness because of something they're holding on from the past.
It's an interesting thing because I'm sure you've used this analogy, you've heard of this analogy, most of the women listening to this have heard this analogy, but it's peeling the onion. And in the work that I do, what we're doing is we're peeling off what is not true to you. We are peeling off your false identities. Yes. The person that you were told you had to be, or you needed to be to survive a situation, or you know, people push us in certain directions, so you think you're good at this. But at doing that, you lost touch with your own heart. And so there's an aspect of peeling away so that you can start hearing your own inner voice, and that will guide you. It will always guide you. And Jessica's a prime example of that. She's so yes. beautifully going, she had a successful practice.
Yes.
But yet something inside was going, no, and so she listened and yes. followed where the energy was going.
Yes.
That's important. Like, and that takes courage.
Yes.
It takes courage when we're connected to the heart at that level. It takes courage. And that's the part that we have to jump. And I love the quote, jump and you will grow your wings on the way down, because that's the truth.
It is. It is. And I love how you use the analogy, peeling off our false identity. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're peeling off
yes.
our false masks, our false identities of who we thought we were, or who we grew up to be in a family based to get attention, but maybe let go of aspects of ourselves because they weren't allowed in our family, or over-identified with others because that behavior worked. And so we have to peel this stuff off and go, oh, here I am. And it's safe to be me, right? I can be me.
That is key. It's safe to be me.
Yeah.
Because that's the old stories that are running through so many people's heads. You know, they're replaying the old stories. And it's interesting because I tell people, one person back in high school could have made a funny comment at you, a joke or something like, you know, one of the things that I recall is I was called chicken legs because I was my legs were like my arms today, you know, to be skinny. And even though one person said it to me, I've replayed, you know, that comment through my head a bazillion times. And even though I'm no longer chicken legs, I'd like to have them back, right? You know, over time. But it's amazing how one comment, one rude comment from a teacher or a friend teasing you, or a parent saying they're in a bad mood, so they say something to you rude, like, you know, that was stupid. You know, we empower that comment.
Yes, we take it in and we hear it, and all of a sudden we put all this meaning on it.
Yeah.
And we recycle it, and we recycle it, and we recycle it. And now we have a pattern playing out in our psyche, in our light body. That is not true.
Yeah.
It's not true. And I think that's the beauty of the work I get to do, is when I scrape it all away, I get to hold a safe, sacred container for someone to let that go.
Yeah. And you are definitely a safe container, because I mean, I loved you the moment I saw you. I said, I just love you. You know, I didn't even know you. I love you. You're probably thinking, what a weirdo. what is going on? But you accepted it. You know, it's there. I don't see any, and we all have ego attached to us, but I have yet to see it attached to you at all. Like either you have this great mirror love that you do in the morning, that you just hang that ego up. But I'm telling you, seeing you at events and your postings and all that, it is wanting to serve others and empower other people. So that's what it's about. So I am so excited. So how can people, do you have any events coming up? How can people find you? What is the best way for people to reach out?
They can definitely find events at my website, and so that's just www.lightbydawn, and Dawn is spelled DAHN.com. And I have two events. At the beginning of the year, I have my chakra series that is launching, and that's going to run through January and February, Sunday evening. That's 8 classes, and that's in person. And so we're going to learn about the chakra. We're going to do some sacred journeying, and then we step into a group healing session. And they are just powerful evenings. And then I also have the ongoing, it's called Lighting the Way, and they can find the information on the website I'm at, but that's a monthly Zoom call.
Okay.
First Thursday of the month. And January, we're going to be talking about winter energy, new beginnings, transition, and probably some dream time. But basically that call is also going through the chakra series. It's just going through the information of it so that you can become aware of where your patterns, where your beliefs, where your imprints started coming in, because they come in so young. They come in so young.
They do.
And we have to hold awareness around that to be able to shift it. To change any pattern or belief, we got to know what our baseline is.
And do you also work with people around the world one-on-one, like via Zoom, like what we're doing? Do you work with people that way? Because I think some people have the misconception that you have to be live to do energy work, and you don't. We're energy, you and I, we're energy connected right now. So I will share all the links. I'll share the link to the fire ceremony. I'll share your website and everything else. So it is just, I can't believe how fast time has flown by. It's like, time's up. Thank you so much, Jeni, for coming today and sharing with the viewers and letting them know a little bit about your practice and your events coming up, and I will share those links. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, my dear. It was a pleasure and an honor to be here.
Do you have any prayer or meditation that you'd like to close with? I feel inspired to ask you that. I've never asked anyone that before.
I love that. You know what's coming forward, because I think it's just the time of the season, is the Buddhist prayer. It's
okay.
Buddhist prayer.
Okay.
And I can attach this in the comments below, but it's a beautiful prayer. Now I'm going to draw a blank, of course. Right?
That's okay. Do you want to do you have it to attach? I
can't attach it, but yeah, that's the one that's coming to mind, and it basically says, for any harm I have done to anyone, I ask forgiveness, whether I've been aware or unaware of it. For any harm that has been done for me, whether conscious or unconscious, I extend forgiveness. For anything I am not yet ready to forgive, I forgive myself for that. And for all the ways that I harm myself, negate myself, doubt myself, judge myself, belittle myself, I forgive myself for that. And so what I love about it is it addresses all layers of forgiveness. And so I will attach that because it's a beautiful prayer to say, especially as things tend to get really triggersome in the holiday season.
Definitely. Well, you had a great recall there on the spot. Like I put people on the spot, so it's like, well, gee, what does that mean? So anyway, thank you so much. And we will be back next week. Until then, have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, darling.